You guys, we're going to call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. Roll call.
Commissioner Cagle?
Here.
Commissioner Heisler? Commissioner Hickey?
Here.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Here.
Commissioner Tazinga?
Here. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
So this evening, we're going to go out of order with the agenda. We're going to go out of order with the agenda as long as there's no one that has a problem with that. And we're going to start with the commemoration tonight of Jason. And we have a special program, and if you turn over your agenda, you're going to see the dignitaries that have come out tonight to make some comments about Jason and celebrating his retirement. And we're sad to see him go, and we're happy to wish him well as well. So we're going to start off with the speakers tonight. Mayor Holublian is here.
I hate leadoff. Thank you all for having me tonight, and I've got a few comments. I don't know if I want to start with the comments first or the proclamation, but I think I'll just start with the proclamation and warm up a little bit. So this is the mayoral proclamation from the city of Crystal Lake. Whereas Executive Director Jason Herbster began his tenure at the Crystal Lake Park District in May 2010 and has provided exceptional leadership for over 15 years, 35 years in the field of park and recreation. And whereas during his tenure, Jason has overseen 42 parks spanning more than 1,400 acres, serving 50,700 residents with over 1,000 programs annually, and has provided strategic guidance for major facilities, including the Nature Center, Main and West Beaches, Lippold Family Golf Center, Grand Oaks Recreation, and Active Adult Center. And whereas Jason spearheaded the Main Beach renovation, Lippold Park enhancements, inclusive playground installations, and aquatic facility improvements, while expanding year-round bike and hiking trails and producing diverse seasonal programming, including concerts in the park and community festivals. And whereas under Jason's leadership, programs for youth, seniors, and adaptive recreation participants have been broadened, environmental sustainability initiatives and habitat restoration projects have been introduced, and the Environmental Monarch Pledge has been secured. And he obtained grant funding for Lakewood Meadows Park, the Nature Center, and Main Beach, strengthen the community partnerships, and revitalize the Parks Initiative Foundation. And whereas Jason has fostered a positive and collaborative workplace culture and has actively participated in district events, and his leadership has guided the district to receiving recognition for excellence in financial reporting, reflecting his commitment to fiscal integrity, transparency, and accountability. And whereas Jason is widely regarded as a supportive, compassionate, and strategic visionary, he has demonstrated exceptional leadership through his mentorship as a distinguished agency mentor, service as a chamber ambassador, recognition as the GFOA award recipient, and the Illinois Attorney General Best Practices Award for innovative initiatives and lasting contributions reflecting the values of the Illinois Association of Park Districts. Now, therefore, I, Haig Holublian, Mayor of the City of Crystal Lake, on behalf of all the citizens of Crystal Lake, do hereby issue this proclamation in recognition and appreciation for Jason Herbster and his impact on the community, and wish him the best in retirement. So a couple more things. The proclamation pretty much said it all, but just a couple notes that I have. If I can find them here.
I took them out of your pocket.
You're like me. I hate these things. So, a couple notes that I have on Jason, and I've known Jason for quite some time, worked with him in various capacities. I've been in public service in this community for over 20 years. And the things that I've really understood and learned about Jason is his respect and collaboration by all that he touches. It's paramount. That, I mean, he is just one of the most ethical humans that I know, and he's just a great person to work with. He does what he says, and he says what he does. And for me, that means everything. He leads by example, and he has a positive attitude. He has a can-do attitude, and making the impossible possible. Jason, you raise the bar for our peers, and also for all of us on council, and your passion and professionalism is just paramount for all of us to look up to. So thank you for that. The 40,000 customers of Crystal Lake and the 10,000 customers of Lakewood, the Park District owes you a deep debt of gratitude. Your vision in making our communities one of the highest rated in the state of Illinois. We are the envy of this great state of Illinois. You know, Crystal Lake was just noted as being one of the top 10 small cities in Illinois, and the Park District has an awful lot to do with that. You are going to be missed, but you deserve nothing but the best because, quite frankly, you are the best. You're the best at what you do. It is my sincere wish that this board will begin to take their mission and their search for an executive director with the objectivity, openness, and seriousness and respect that the position deserves. A world-class park district in a world-class community deserves nothing less. And with that, in the meantime, as I've said before, when one door closes, another one's going to open. And from my vantage point, this is not goodbye, Jason. We'll be talking soon. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hyde.
I do want to point out that some of the council members are here tonight. Councilman Philpott is here. There's Denise. Denise is here. I know that, is there anyone else? I don't want to miss anybody. I do want to note that Councilwoman Teesoff wishes you the best. She's pretty ill tonight, so she just wanted me to send those regards to you. So thank you.
Okay, we have, our next speaker is David Stavropoulos, President of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lakewood.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to point out my village manager, Jean Heckman, is here today. She recently made her announcement for retirement as well, Jason, after you did, so I don't know if that's a coincidence or what. I haven't figured that one out quite yet. I have my village clerk with me as well, Jeanette Labasco. And we have one of our youngest residents here, Maya Stavropoulos, who is here too, who cleared her calendar to be here. So thank you, Maya. The Village of Lakewood would like to extend its sincere thanks and appreciation to Jason Herbster on his retirement from the Crystal Lake Park District. Jason has been an outstanding partner to the Village of Lakewood over the years, and we are grateful for the collaborative leadership he has fostered between our communities. His leadership, professionalism, and commitment to public service sets a strong example not only for the residents he served, but also for the dedicated staff he led throughout his tenure. We are especially appreciative of Jason's role in helping make Lakewood Meadows Park a reality. The park stands as a great example of what can be accomplished when communities work together to expand recreational opportunities and enhance the quality of life for residents. Jason's positive influence, steady leadership, and commitment to excellence will have a lasting impact on the Park District and the broader community. The Village of Lakewood is thankful for the opportunity to have worked alongside him and wishes him all the best in a well-deserved retirement. Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, our next speaker is Michael Bueller, and he cannot be here tonight, but Donna Kurtz is here to speak on his behalf.
Thank
Thank you, President. Thank you, Board, for having the opportunity for all of, I'm not good at goodbyes, Jason. I'm not good. I think I'm so tough, and then I'm not, so.
I know where you live. We'll stop by.
Yeah. But, you know, we're going to have a few elected officials here tonight. I'm one of them. I'm representing Mike Bueller for the county board. They have their board meeting tonight because of the elections, just like you guys do. So he said, Donna, would you come out and speak? The good news is you get 2 speeches for one, meaning I'll get you out the door a little sooner because I'll kind of wrap it up. 2 for 1. So let me share with you the words from Mike Bueller. It is a presentation that he wanted me to make to you, Jason. Dear Jason, on behalf of myself and the McHenry County Board, we thank you for your service as Executive Director of Crystal Lake Park District. During your 16 years as Executive Director, you made an indelible mark on the recreation and the happiness of the Crystal Lake community. Among the many projects that you left were the rebuild of the West Beach building, the pavilion, the construction of the new Lakewoods Meadow Park, renovations to the main beach park and its pavilion, the construction of new splash pads and more. Your leadership was instrumental in expanding services like the extended time after-school programs for seniors, pickleball, and more. So it's something we all saw in action. We very much appreciate your mindfulness to taxpayers as well and being smart with the dollar. You partnered with Crystal Lake School Districts and Crystal Lake Public Library to expand programs while increasing efficiency. And Mike says, I've never said this before in a congratulatory letter, but because of you, Crystal Lake is a more fun place to be, thanks to you and your contributions, which are felt. When we see kids laughing, playing on a zip line, or couples enjoying a summer concert on Main Beach. And I think that's probably everybody in the room. So you've made an impact. And Mike and the board would like to wish you happiness for a well-deserved retirement. So, warm regards, Mike Bueller, McHenry County Chairman. Okay? Yeah. So, enough of that. Now I'll just be normal me. No, that was normal me, which isn't very normal.
So you're saying that he's a crybaby?
Yeah, I really am. I really am. I'm very sentimental. Now I'm speaking as the McHenry County Treasurer. When we moved here in 1968, it was because of the park. And we didn't have this where we lived before. And the park made a difference in our lives, but it also brought us here to, I think, one of the finest communities in the country. This park that you board members, you commissioners are lucky enough to be on. And you're part of bringing people here. Like my family, a young family with 3 girls. My parents said, we want to live in a place where our kids are going to have fun and learn how to water ski and how to sail and how to play golf. And we did all those things because of this park district. this park district has only gotten better. And I think it's magnificent that this board is all part of that, and that it's had that success under great leadership, and you have stepped up in that stewardship of this very important asset of Crystal Lake. And we thank you for the place you've taken us, and I firmly believe this board will take it to a glide path of even greater lengths. But in the meantime, we'll ever be forever indebted to you, Jason, for the sincerity in which you've contributed to our community. So thank you. From Donna Kurtz, McHenry County Treasurer.
Okay, so we have our next speaker is Caroline Campbell, board member, McHenry County, and it's going to be Carl Campbell coming up to speak on her behalf.
Yep, Carolyn is also at the county board meeting tonight, and so she asked me to come and read some comments on her behalf. I know very well that I shouldn't normally try to speak for her unless she hands me a piece of paper that she wrote herself, so here goes. Carolyn's family moved here 48 years ago, and then we came back here 38 years ago. So not only does she represent part of Crystal Lake on the county board, but we've been residents for that long. So here goes. As a local government professional, I've worked with many committed and dedicated public employees who took great pride and found deep satisfaction in serving their communities. And to me, Jason exemplifies the best of public service. We honor Jason today precisely because of his exceptional leadership and lifelong commitment to improving the lives of those around him. Whether it is the child in summer camp, the senior connecting with others through exceptional programming, staff members making it all happen, or the community as a whole, Jason is passionate about helping others find meaning, engagement, and a sense of place. As executive director, Jason, guided by environmental and fiscal stewardship, has led with integrity, vision, and purpose, shaping not only the beautiful parks and wonderful programs we enjoy every day, but also the people and relationships that make the Crystal Lake Park District so incredibly special. An influential civic and agency leader, Jason has worked to create strong intergovernmental partnerships, not only to improve efficiencies, but to grow the impact of this important work that is only possible through collaboration. Jason's professional and personal commitment couldn't be more obvious, whether it's on the board of directors of NISRA or walking around in a bright green sports jacket as ambassador for the Crystal Lake Chamber of Commerce. Jason is everywhere and his impact is profound. He faced challenges with grace, guided decision-making with wisdom, and inspired those around him through genuine care and dedication to the district and the communities and individuals it serves. As a public official, I understand the importance of having professional staff who, through their experience and expertise, help inform policy decisions on a daily basis. Professionals who are valued and empowered are the foundation of strong, thriving, and impactful governmental agencies. This important partnership between elected officials and executive leadership helped shape the Park District over the years, and Jason has been instrumental in nurturing this critical relationship. Professional expertise at this level is earned in small part by trial and error, but mostly through a lifetime of dedicated hard work, persistence, and a commitment to excellence, and the Park District has benefited greatly from Jason's lifelong passion and leadership. The impact of his work will live on in the spaces we share, the lives that have been touched, and the power of community that has been created. Our entire family, including our 3 sons and dog Mia, spent countless hours on district sites, playing soccer, walking and biking the many trails, play dates at local playgrounds, nature adventures through Veteran Acres, kayaking on the lake, tennis matches, the list goes on. These are what memories are made of. We are forever grateful to Jason and the entire Park District team for helping to make those memories possible and for ensuring that current and future generations will continue to benefit from this precious local resource. Finally, during my time serving on the Conservation District Board, I had ample opportunities to interact with Parks and Rec professionals. I can tell you firsthand, they really do care, and they definitely have more fun. Thank you, Jason. We'll miss you.
Okay, our next speaker is Elizabeth Kessler, Executive Director, McHenry County Conservation District, and this will be a recorded message if we have it to play.
Jason, I just wanted to say congratulations on your retirement. Your dedication to parks, recreation, and conservation here in McHenry County, the city of Crystal Lake, as well as across the state of Illinois, has been very much appreciated, and we are grateful for all of your service. You've helped strengthen our community, helped set high standards for community engagement and partnership, and I wish you the very best as you enjoy this new chapter of your life. I hope to see you on the trails, and hope you will stay engaged, and again, just appreciate all that you've done, your vision, your hard work. You've been an inspiration, and it's been great to have you as a colleague here locally. Thanks so much.
Okay, the next speaker is Susan Ness, State Representative, and Holly Glover will be speaking on her behalf.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be speaking on behalf of our State Representative Suzanne Ness, who is in Springfield doing those important things that she was elected to do. Whereas the members of the Illinois House of Representatives wish to congratulate Jason Herbster on the occasion of his retirement as Executive Director of the Crystal Lake Park District after more than 15 years of services. And whereas the Crystal Lake Park District is a separate unit of local government charged with providing park and recreation services for approximately 50,700 residents, the district includes 42 parks spanning more than 1,400 acres and provides over 1,000 annual program offerings. Its facilities include the Nature Center, Main and West Beaches, Colonel Palmer House, Lippold Family Golf Center, Bonkoski Softball Complex at Lippold Park, Grand Oaks Recreation Active Adult Center, the Racket Club, Barlina House Preschool, and numerous picnic shelters. And the district also maintains miles of bike and hiking trails. And whereas Jason Herbster is a seasoned expert in the field of parks and recreation, possessing more than 3 decades of experience. Prior to joining the Crystal Lake Park District in May 2010, he served the Glenview Park District from June 2001 to May 2010. The Schaumburg Park District from June 1998 to June 2001. The Palatine Park District from November 1990 to June 1998. And the Alsip Park District from December 1989 to November 1990. And whereas during his tenure, Jason Herbster successfully reestablished the Parks Initiative Foundation, revitalizing its mission, visibility, and fundraising efforts to strengthen parks and recreation initiatives, a collaborative and trusted relationship builder. He has also forged and maintained strong intergovernmental partnerships with the City of Crystal Lake, the Village of Lakewood, local school districts, and the public library, enhancing community connections and shared resources. And whereas demonstrating environmental leadership, Jason Herbster secured the Environmental Monarch Pledge and obtained key grant funding, including the grant to update and preserve Main Beach, the Lakewood Meadows Grant, and the Nature Center Grant. advancing sustainability and environmental education. His commitment to organizational excellence was further evidenced by earning an award from the Government Finance Officers Association for outstanding financial reporting, transparency, and accountability. And whereas Jason Herbster is a highly respected and an influential leader, known for fostering a positive, engaging, and inclusive workplace culture, recognized as a distinguished agency mentor. He is celebrated for his guidance, mentorship, and ability to inspire professional growth in others. His commitment to relationship building and community partnership is further demonstrated through his role as an ambassador for the Crystal Lake Chamber of Commerce and as a board member for the Northern Illinois Special Recreation Association, NISRA, where he contributes to meaningful community impact. And whereas Jason Herbster is considered a strong listener, a talented motivator, and an influential leader throughout the community, consistently promoting staff morale, teamwork, and a fun, supportive workplace culture. His skills in developing employee engagement and organizational culture contributed to the Crystal Lake Park District receiving the McHenry County Top Workplaces 2024 Reader's Choice Award, Workplaces for Teens. And whereas Jason Herbster has expressed his intention to retire in April 2026, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 104th General Assembly of the State of Illinois that we congratulate Jason Herbster on his retirement as Executive Director of the Crystal Lake Park District after more than 15 years of service. And we thank him for his dedication and commitment to the Crystal Lake community and the state of Illinois. And just about done here, and be it further resolved that a suitable copy of this resolution be presented to Jason Herbster as an expression of our esteem and respect. So you're going to get a fancy copy.
Okay, the next speaker is Gary Bonnick, Ambassador of the Crystal Lake Chamber of Commerce.
Jason, unfortunately, I don't have any proclamations for you.
Just say whereas a lot.
I'll sign my note. I'll sign the note cards for you when I'm done. As I said, I'm Gary Bonnick with the Crystal Lake Chamber of Commerce Ambassadors. We are the liaison between the community and the chamber. We're the Green Jacket people, and I failed to bring the green jacket tonight. I'm especially disappointed because me and Haig would have looked really good sitting next to each other. You know, but.
We're looking for new ambassadors, Hag.
So we're going to get to that. But Jason's been an ambassador with us since 2022. And ironically, it's the first time I had met Jason, but I had been his insurance agent for years because I'd always dealt with his wife. I'm like, you're Jason Herbster? I do your insurance. So that's pretty cool. But Jason has continued the really strong link we have between the chamber and the Park District, going back to Ann Viger, Jerry Schaefer, and Jason has just contributed, you know, immensely to our organization. We're grateful to have him as part of our team. When I first saw in the Herald that Jason was retiring, the first thing that came to mind is you can't do that. You got to be chair of our ambassadors in a couple of years. But the good thing is we have a program called Emeritus where Jason could still be part of that. So a lot of people, I think, get involved in boards and organizations like ours because it's a requirement of their job or to pad their resume. That was not Jason. Jason always dug in, gave 100%, just a calm leader, you know, and sometimes even an organization not as important maybe as ambassadors. Sometimes, you know, people have little disagreements and whatnot, and Jason is always the calm presence there, great ideas. He's contributed immensely to our Chamber of Commerce holiday party, helping put that together. Excuse me, as you can tell, I don't like public speaking, but as a resident of Crystal Lake for many years, I can just say, even though I didn't know Jason, our kids thoroughly enjoyed everything in the Park District, from the parks to the mother-son dance to numerous other things. So we're really grateful for your leadership and all you've done, and we're not letting you leave the ambassadors. So.
Okay, the next speaker is Jim Wiseman, the Executive Director of NISRA.
Thanks for the opportunity to address you, and thank you, Jason. On behalf of NISRA, we appreciate all your leadership and support. You've been board president, vice president, treasurer, and an outstanding board member. The Park District in general, with Jason's leadership, has been instrumental to the growth of NISRA. You may not know, but the very first NISRA office was right here. It was a desk and a chair in May Beach Pavilion without a telephone. And they had to move it out of the way when the dance class came in. So we have grown tremendously because we're in our 50th year. But we truly appreciate everything you've done. You make sure we're fun, professional, compassionate, trustworthy, and innovative. I always think of when I first got to know you 16 years ago when I was a superintendent director and a member of the board. And I said, my daughter loved your wife as a preschool teacher. You know, I can't remember her name. She always called her Mrs. Herbster. And you said, that's what I call her too. So I knew right there we would enjoy the relationship. And I could go on, and I know you can hear many good things here. But truly, you've been very impactful. And Nancy, if you're here tonight, if Jason has too much free time, we're always looking for skating coaches because I know you like hockey. And there's always room for you at NISRA. So thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Ron Selsky, who is the Executive Director of the Mundelein Park District.
Good evening. I'm Ron Sulsky, Executive Director of the Mundelein Park and Recreation District, and I have the privilege of being Jason Herbster's colleague and friend for almost 33 years. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize someone who's made a lasting impact on every agency he's worked for, countless professionals, and thousands of residents. And I have to say, this is one of the coolest retirement tributes that I've ever seen, so thank you. I think this is really well deserving. It says a lot about how much Jason means to this community, this staff, this board, and our entire industry. On behalf of the Mundelein Park and Recreation District Board of Commissioners and staff, we want to congratulate Jason on an incredible career in parks and recreation. He is truly one of the most respected professionals and people in our field. Jason mentored two of my agencies through the distinguished accreditation process, and I'll be honest, I think my staff liked him more than they liked me. I always will say the Mundelein Park and Recreation District has the best board in the state because they truly understand governance and leadership. When they heard Jason was retiring, they were genuinely happy for him, but also a little sad. Many of them served with Jason on the statewide Distinguished Accreditation Committee, and the board, staff, and I spent many years hanging out, attending sessions at state and national conference. After a while, the board members, even their spouses, got to know Jason very well. They wish you the very best, Jason. I first met Jason 33 years ago when I was new to the field. It was at a Battle of the Bands event in partnership with the Salt Creek and Palatine Park District. Jason walked up, shook my hand, and asked me questions about myself. And he treated me like I belonged, even though I was just a young professional trying to figure things out. That was Jason then, and honestly, it's still Jason today. Over the years, and along with Carrie, the three of us leaned on each other for advice, support, and occasionally survival during the tough days or board meetings. In fact, our spouses probably wondered for years who is actually Jason and why do we talk to him so much. As executive directors, our conversations changed, though. They became less about jobs and more about family, leadership, community, and life. And that's who Jason really is. He cares deeply about his communities, often more than he gets credit for. He coaches, teaches, mentors, and pushes people to reach their full potential. He understands that leadership means building relationships and creating a positive culture. And when he makes mistakes, he owns them, which in public leadership is pretty rare and impressive trait. Jason believes Parks and Recreation is a team effort, staff, board, and community working together to impact lives. And he didn't just talk about it, he lived it and breathed it. The funny thing is, Jason has never been someone chasing awards or accolades. He's always focused on what he does best, just being Jason Herbster. But if you ask me, he absolutely belongs on the Mount Rushmore of Park and Recreation professionals and friends. Jason, my friend, colleague, and someone who I've always looked up to, congratulations on an incredible career. Thank you for the advice, the support, and for always picking up the phone when I needed it. Don't worry, retirement just means our next chapter of hanging out together will probably even be more fun. Thank you again to the board for the opportunity to speak tonight, and Jason, congratulations.
Okay, our next speaker is Carrie Fullerton, the Executive Director of the Arlington Heights Park District.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here today to speak on behalf of some of Jason's colleagues and friends. I met Jason 28 years ago. We were both working as facility managers at the Schaumburg Park District, and I'm fairly certain he was pretty sick of me the minute he met me. Because he was going to be replacing me at the Meineke Center, and I was going to train him on how to be an amazing facility manager. Without going into too much detail, I could tell he probably wished he'd never met my know-it-all 30-year-old self. However, as time went on,
Hard to follow a legend.
Right? However, as time went on, I learned to be a little less obnoxious, and what came of that is a career-long friendship. I learned that Jason was truly a smart and funny and kind human, and really a dear friend, who, by the way, really did not need my training because he had more experience than I did when he got there. So, you know, we all get just but one life, and in Jason's case, he could have been an astronaut or a professional hockey player, maybe not that, or an accountant, or a myriad of other professions, but he could have been whatever he wanted to be. And in my humble opinion, he has chosen to spend his life in a most honorable profession. In Parks and Recreation, we're the quality of life people in every community. We provide services and places where people create memories and experiences that last a lifetime. Most of us in this room can remember which playground was the most fun in our hometown, or where we hit our first home run. And those memories and experiences create the fabric of our lives, and they are the things that really matter. And I'm certain if I were to ask any Crystal Lake resident what their favorite Park District program is, or which park they have the most fun in, or what they like the most about the beaches or the soccer fields, they would be able to answer that question. However, what the Crystal Lake residents most likely don't know is that Jason's leadership, his vision, his passion, and his dedication to those amenities and services are the hugest part of what make those memories and experiences so truly special. And thus, Jason's work here is a big part of the reason why Crystal Lake is such a fun and wonderful place to live, work, and
Play.
Yes, play. What's so cool about this industry is that Jason's work will live on long past his time here and for many generations to come. And if that's not a way to create a life well lived, I'm not certain what is. I want to thank Jason's family. I think Nancy's here, right? For sharing him with all of us, the long hours, and understanding that in Parks and Recreation, we work when other people work, and we work when other people play. And this is a huge sacrifice on behalf of Jason, but also from those that love him the most. So Jason, I want to thank you for your incredible contributions to our industry. You've given so much of yourself, and you have so much to be proud of that you've accomplished over the last 35 years. This park board, this staff, and this community are so fortunate to have had you at this helm. Any agency would have considered themselves blessed to have you as their executive director. So please know that we're all very proud of you, very proud to call you our colleague, and even more proud to call you our friend. I'm wishing you and your family much love and peace and joy in this next phase of your journey, and I just want to say thanks for being you.
Okay, we have our final speaker tonight, Kurt Recamp, Superintendent of Park Programs and Facility Services right here in Crystal Lake.
This is a lot of pressure having to go last, by the way. And I really think I could just say ditto. Like, I agree with everything that's been said. I mean, on my list, creates good experiences, check, makes lasting impact, check, organizational culture, check. Like, pretty much all the good things that I had to say have already been covered. So again, I think that's just a testament to how well people know Jason. I think that under our leadership, the staff has gotten stronger, our facilities have been improved, our programs have been expanded, and our connection to the community has just been enhanced. I would say, simply put, just to be brief, you are leaving us in a better spot than when you got here. And I know from the beginning, when you're like, it's time for me to retire, or when you were thinking about it, that's all that you wanted. That was your main goal, leave it better than when you found it. And I can tell you for an absolute fact that you have. Thank you very much for everything that you've done, for all the department heads and all the staff and everybody else.
Jason, a few words, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight and all the kind words. I didn't see any of my kids here, so that's good news. They tend to set up wagers on when I'm going to start to cry when I give emotional speeches. So place your bets when they get here, I guess. Thank you for organizing this tonight. It means the world to me. Leaving high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And my dad said, why don't you try recreation? And I grew up in a community where people didn't do that. They became lawyers, doctors, finance people, real estate moguls, and it was the best advice I ever got. The first class I took was in recreation programming. The instructor walked in. He said, everyone stand up. And he started to walk us through the game of going on a lion hunt. I don't know if anyone knows what that game is, but it's a camp game. And I'm like, you can get paid to do this? And I never looked back. And it's been an amazing career. I'm going to start at the bottom of the list and work my way up. Kurt, your words, everything everyone said tonight is because of the staff that work here. I'm just one of them. And I get the fortunate position to be in to work with everybody. And when I got here, we needed some work, and we got to a great place. And it's all because of the staff. All those projects that were listed in programs and things, it's the work of a team. And in this business especially, we don't do it alone. We die in this business if we try to do it alone. And it's a team effort all the way across the board. So to the staff, thank you so much. I love working with you guys. I always have this saying that I share with people. You never know who you're going to work with or run into down the road. So even if you don't like somebody, you can't let them know it. But I can honestly say there's nobody here that I don't like. I truly love working with everybody. And it's amazing work everybody's done. To my peers, Carrie, Ron, Jim, thanks for keeping it PG. But this field's very different than most fields. The professionals are a very tight fraternity of people. We share and steal ideas from each other and put our spin on them and make them our own, whereas in the real world, business doesn't do that. And that's what makes us very unique and what gets us very close. And, you know, I forgot to mention Liz, who was up on the screen. You know, combined, I think I've known the three of you guys for over 75 years. And, you know, Ron mentioned we met when we were just kids in this field. Met Carrie when we worked in Schaumburg together. I taught her that it was okay if people stepped in your hula hoop. I don't know if that's appropriate these days, but I'll take my chances. I met Liz. She was on a panel for a job I interviewed pretty much right out of college. And I didn't get the job, but I made a friend. And from that day on, I was friends with Liz and one other member of that panel, the retired director from Park Ridge Park District. And I don't know that you see that in the real world, where you become friends with people that turned you down for a job. But we're all in this together, and I value your guys' friendship and mentorship and help all these years. We've been through some tough times, and we've had a lot more fun times than the tough times. So thank you guys for being so special to me. Holly, that was an amazing read from Representative Ness, so thank you for being here tonight. Greatly appreciate it and truly enjoy working with her. You guys do great things, and your support of our industry is so much appreciated. We can't do it without you guys in Springfield, and it's been awesome, so thank you. Donna, I don't want to get you if she's... Donna, thank you for your support of the Park District all these years. You've been an advocate of ours since the day I got here, and your friendship to us at the Park District, and especially me, has been so special. So thank you so much for everything you had to say and for your ongoing support of us. So, Carl and Carolyn, I love what you had to say. Anytime I see her, it's a great conversation, and she's so engaged in the community and what we do at the Park District and what's going on at the county level and the Conservation District, and a true advocate for what we do, and it's always been appreciated. Whenever I'd run into her, I've always looked forward to the discussion because it was always so positive and engaging. So thank you for being here for her and doing what she told you. David, thank you so much for everything with Lakewood. When I got here, our relationships were good, and they've just continued to get better. I know there were some rocky years there, and under your leadership, you got things back in order, and the Park District truly appreciates that. It's been so great working with you and Gene. Way to go, Gene, retiring. But thank you guys so much. Lakewood has been a pleasure to work with. Hi. When I came to Crystal Lake, one of my missions from the board that hired me was to develop a better relationship with the city. And when I got here, it was not good. And I can wholeheartedly say I think it's probably one of the best places it's ever been. Under Gary's leadership, Eric's leadership, and with your leadership now, and obviously Aaron's leadership, Gary and Aaron gave me an opportunity to be me and not carry the baggage of what may have been here in the past. And I'm truly grateful for that. And you continue to allow me to do that, and Eric, and working with the city has been outstanding. So thank you so much for your guys' support, and rest of City Council as well. I know some of you guys are here, so thank you so much. And lastly, the board, thank you guys. And former board members that are here, thank you guys. I see a few. Angel, that hired me, was on that board. Debbie. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to work here. It's truly been fun. You know, even the bad days are good. You know, as I've always said, being in this field beats working. So it's truly been a blast, and thank you guys for your support and everything that we do. So I know I'm forgetting people, so come up and punch me in the face if I did, and we'll get you on another agenda. So thank you all very much for being here and for the very kind words. It's very humbling, and I appreciate it. are. Who wants to talk about the budget?
Okay, so we have the presentation now of the Executive Director Herbster's retirement recognition. I think there's one more event happening now.
Actually, we don't. Are we, Ian,
We don't?
are we doing that? We're doing that at the party.
Okay. Okay, we don't have that. So that ends the recognition ceremony. Thank you guys for coming out tonight for it, and we're going to move on to approval of the agenda now. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda. I would like to move the presentation by the Crystal Lake Park Initiative Foundation to the first thing after the agenda is approved.
Okay, is there a second for that?
I'll make a second for that.
Okay, anybody opposed? We don't need to do roll call for that. Okay, so that's what we'll do.
All in favor?
Anybody opposed? No, okay. Next is the Crystal Lake Park Initiative Foundation presentation.
We're clearing the room out here. So hi, I'm Michelle Hartwig, and I'm the president of the Crystal Lake Parks Initiative Foundation. And so I'm here speaking on behalf of our board, that some of our boards here, Debbie and Allison, and then this is Heather, and other board members weren't able to come, but we just wanted to come here and thank you for your leadership to us. And so tonight is, Jason's last night, and at this meeting as executive director, and I look back and just think of all the times that I should have thanked you for, and I'm going to try not to cry. I've already cried when I did this before, but that we should have thanked you for the things that you've done for the parks over the years and for each of us individually. Let's see. And then you've built an incredible team. The staff is just amazing. A lot of the staff is out here now, so you're leaving the park in great shape. And I'm so proud to call myself a member of Crystal Lake and living here because of what you have built here. I'm so happy to hear people mentioning you founding the foundation. We've enjoyed working alongside of you on that, and it's been a lot of work and a lot of fun. I can remember one of the first meetings when I was on the park board where you told us that we were the fun government, and you always do keep everything fun. On a personal note, one of my favorite things about Jason is that he always sees the best in people, and then he helps them step into that. And thank you for everything that you've taught us. We hope that you continue to be involved in part of the foundation, although I see you've got tons of invites other places. But we will keep the job of flipping burgers and setting up the cardboard regatta for you, and maybe we'll just kick Mark out of being the beaver if you really want to do that. And then also, Kurt, thank you so much for making our events for the Crystal Lake Parks Initiative Foundation run super easily, and just events in general. And then we've got Heather here. She's going to talk about our scholarship program.
I'm Heather Mance. I am the treasurer of the Crystal Lake Parks Initiative Foundation. And on behalf of the foundation, it's my honor to present this scholarship donation to the Crystal Lake Park District. I'll let you have that. Tonight is especially meaningful because this is the foundation's inaugural scholarship donation, the first of what we hope will be many contributions that expand access to Park District programs for families facing financial barriers. With this first check, we are formally establishing the Crystal Lake Parks Initiative Foundation Scholarship Program. A lot of help, thanks to Kurt. He does a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes, so we want to make sure we recognize your efforts as well. But this evening, we are honored to make this first scholarship donation in recognition of Executive Director Jason Herbster. Jason has been a steady, honest, and community-minded leader, and the impact of his work is felt everywhere in Crystal Lake. He's helped to build programs, opportunities, and a sense of teamwork that will last well beyond his time here. It has been an honor and a privilege to do good work in this community alongside him, recognizing his legacy through this first scholarship, which feels both fitting and deeply meaningful. Jason, thank you for your dedication and the impact you've made. We wish you all the best in your retirement, and it's our privilege to present this inaugural scholarship check in your honor.
Okay, we're going to move on to unfinished business now. And we're on 26, 27 proposed budget.
Okay, so in your packet, we'll start with the budget workshop changes summary. Based on the feedback from the last meeting, Tina put together changes that the board requested after our discussion. So that's what's in the packet. The bottom line has gone from a deficit spend of roughly 4.9 million to 5.6. So that's a change of 667,000. I don't know if anyone has any questions. She revised the memo to reflect those changes along with the graphs and the other supporting information that was in the memo portion of that part of the budget. So if anyone has any questions or wants to go through anything.
I do have a comment. The memo still had the February date on it, so it wasn't clear to me that it had been updated. So it needs to say revised or something when
Okay.
it's updated going forward.
I will make that note. Thank you.
So the information that we've given, it reflects the reduction in staff, and what else does this reflect again?
So the reduction in the staff, there were a few corrections we made in there as well. The bulk of it is the staff, which would include the insurance packages that would go along with those. The reduction, the bond proceeds were reduced from 2.5 to 1.5 million. So those are the main things that were changed.
Can you review for the board what that bond is traditionally, how it's traditionally used, and what it is set up by the state, what function it serves for park districts, please?
Sure. So every other year, we issue $1.5 million of debt through a bond issuance to support our capital improvement program for the district. It's been done long before I was here. It's set up through the park code and through the state legislature and laws that park districts can issue this debt in order to perform capital work within the organization. There's limits and things that are established based on a lot of different factors, but it's a tool used by not only park districts but municipalities to complete capital work within their control of what they have to do.
And if park districts wanted to carry out large projects, and is there any other traditional form of funding for those large projects?
The main two, well, there's really three: grants, the bond issuance, and then surplus fund balance are the main three sources of funding.
So for us to finish out the maintenance garage, this is really the only viable way for us to do it.
Well, this issuance that we're doing this year is the one we normally would issue every other year. This year, we're dedicating those funds to the garage project. Sometimes we can split it amongst different projects. Sometimes we just dedicate it to one.
Thank you.
So can you go over how our payroll has increased over the last 10 years?
Sure, so that's going on to the next item, number 2. So in 2016, it was 4.5 million. In 2025, it's at 7.1. What's changed in the last 10 years? A lot of things. I think one of the biggest is the increase in minimum wage going from, I think at the time we were at what, like $8 to $15 an hour over the course of a 5-year period. We support a tremendous amount of minimum wage positions at the Park District. So that had a huge impact on our budget. In addition to that, there were compression changes to wages that went into effect because of the minimum wage thing. So what that means is, now that we were hiring somebody, say at $12 an hour, and there was someone that had worked for us for 2 years and they were only making 10, we had to then bring them up to that minimum wage. So those compression factors also added to our payroll. Moving some full-time positions above the poverty status line was something that also impacted this. When we did our salary studies, we did have jobs that we were paying full-time staff that were below the poverty level. So we made a conscious effort to improve that situation as well. Trying to think if there's any other Any other things, Kurt, that you can, those are those are some of the main things. Obviously, things like inflation have played a factor in it as well, and being competitive in the market.
And so this is one of the things that I asked you to bring out, and I was just trying to get a handle on it, because that's over a 50% increase in salaries in that 10-year period when we have a static population. And if you look at Barrington's Park District, they've had an 11% decrease in what they're spending in the same time period. I'm just trying to get a handle on that.
Well, I think also the use of our programs has gone up considerably as well, and that's obviously going to contribute to hiring more positions.
Plus, we have more land that needs to be maintained and mowed, and we run a beach. The beach is very minimum wage dependent, and that was those of us who were on the board when those minimum wage increases started hitting us, it was an incredible burden because we have so many minimum wage or close to minimum wage people working in our summer operations and mowing all those parks.
And our wages are approximately 35% of our budget, which frankly, for an organization where we're heavily people dependent, I think is pretty good.
But I think no matter how you look at it, it's a startling rise. Startling. It's 50% is a big deal.
There have been very few full-time positions added on the 8 years I've been on the board. There are more added this year, but we've done things like add a new park and ask more of our police. So I think we've been slow to add new full-time positions. I think if you broke down those increases, it's a huge percentage of it is due to the minimum wage increase.
Well, and all park districts are subject to that same problem, so.
But we have.
Yeah.
And I can't really comment on comparisons to other districts. I'd have to look at their information to see if we're comparing apples to apples, so.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about percentage. I'm not talking about absolute numbers, just percentage.
Mm-hmm.
When did the minimum wage reach? I know it was graduated to get to 15. Is it safe to say that that was in 2021, or when did that go into?
We started a year. We knew it was coming, so we started a year ahead to get ahead of it. So by the year that it was actually the law, we were already in compliance. So the other thing to remember too is that, we had some positions that were already at that amount, but again, due to the compression, those ranges had to be increased to keep up with the market. I believe, I can't remember the compliance year. I think it was 2023 when we finally.
It pretty much started, it went along with the digit that ended the year. So at 2021, you had to be at 11. At 2022, you had to be at 12, and therefore. So it got to officially $15 an hour in 2025, but it started in 2020.
I mean, when you look at 2016 to 2020, that there was minimal, I don't want to say minimal, but much less of an increase during those years. So.
In COVID year obviously set us back as well.
And then one other question: what does the summer part-time staffing go to? Like, or what is it right now, and then what will it be?
So right now we're roughly around 200 staff. In the summer we'll be upwards of over 400.
Okay, double.
And Kurt, over that time span, you've added a lot more part-time work. I'm sorry. Over the 10 years, you've added a lot more part-time staff to support some of the programs that keep growing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, summer camp is a perfect one. Summer camp has exploded over the past several years, so we've had to hire more camp counselors, which therefore there's more people eating here. We've had to hire more concessions workers, and yeah.
And you look at the inclusion budget, for example, this year it's going to be over $375,000. That's a lot of wages right there.
Is that the special rec budget you're talking about?
It comes out of there, yes.
Yeah. So there's been a 300% increase in 1 year just in that budget. So that's something that we need to really embrace and support, because obviously there's a great need for that. So do we know how many full-time employees we had 10 years ago?
I don't know off the top of my head. We can certainly get that information, but I don't
Because
have it.
full-time employees are much more capital intensive
Mhm.
because of health insurance, because of IMRF, things like that. And they have if you look at over the lifetime of what that costs, they're much more expensive than a part-time.
Right. And just, for the newer board members, in order for us to bring a full-time position to you, the staff have to jump through hoops with me to get to that point where I'm going to agree to bring it to the board. They need to show the need, the reasoning for it, and, bottom line, do we think we can afford to do it? And, yeah, this year, it was a big ask. We've never asked for this many positions before, but there's a lot of things happening that we felt warranted it. Did we expect to get all of them? No, but we were hoping to get some of them to fill some of the gaps that we have. But when I got here, the staff didn't even have to come to the board and ask for full-time positions. They just did it, from my understanding. And I'm like, how do you get away with that? I mean, I thought that was a very critical thing to bring to a board, that, hey, we need to add some more full-time staff. To Fred's point, it's cost-intensive, and, we need to show reason and responsibility for why we need to bring those positions in. And there's times where we've felt, the tide has changed and we're doing something differently, and we don't need a full-time position anymore, so those positions go away. So our full-time count does fluctuate up and down.
So you're saying that we have people leave sometimes, full-time? Okay. So.
They retire.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
So I think that I would, based on this conversation, I would propose that we approve one full-time position for the budget this year, and that person should be for the special rec fund, because that fund has increased 300% in 1 year, and we have a great need for special recreation. We want to make sure we support those programs, and that seems to be where our focus should be, because, if it goes up another 300% next year, we're going to have to probably keep allocating resources, because we want to make sure that that's a program that's available. I don't know what anybody else wants to comment on that.
I guess my question, or a question for clarification, are you, or is it feasible to add somebody mid-year at full-time, meaning the need is realized, obviously. Right now, we're talking about it, but maybe in 6 months from now, it's a realistic thing. Not that this isn't, but, and then are you able to see savings somewhere else and go, we have the money now to add this position? Does that happen, or has that ever happened, or is that non-traditional?
I don't recall really adding anybody mid-year into a position that hasn't already been created or approved by the board. Normally, we try to do that on the cycle of the budget, so that the money is appropriated for that. If there was a need, and we were like, oh my God, we need to take care of this right away, we would come to the board and say, listen, we need to, create this position, and here's how we're going to fund it. I think with the financial situation of the district, it can support these positions. We're continuing to outpace our revenue with our programming and facilities. So, as long as that's happening, we can cover the positions. And that's one of the things we look at when staff brings them forward. Are we able to fund them? So if that doesn't pass the sniff test at the staff level, it's never going to get to you guys.
So if we have a need in the middle of the year, that you can cover it with part-time people, you can bring people in, you can hire people as needed.
In most cases, we'll try to accomplish things with part-time staff, because it's a much easier, I shouldn't say easier, it's a much more efficient and less expensive way to do things, but sometimes you just need a full-time person to do it. Because what's hard too is with part-time staff, and I think our Park Police Department's a perfect example, part-time officers are a revolving door. So, no offense to you guys that have been here for a while, but, we go through a lot of people.
None taken, I'm sure.
I'm in favor of moving forward with the 4 staff that we've 8 full-time positions were presented to us. We asked staff to go back and come back with 4, cut it in half, and they did. And those positions, I think, are well justified. We've seen In Jason and my term on the board, we've seen us let go of our IT person, work with a consultant, and now we're moving back towards a full-time position. So I've seen the flexibility of trying that position both ways, and if staff is saying it's time to move back to a full-time position, I think well, I know I respect the experience that went into making that decision. We heard firsthand how the police are stretched and how we spend a revolving door of money training part-time people who don't stick around. I think if you look at the cost of adding a full-time position and then the savings in training that we spend on the revolving part-time position, it makes sense to invest in a full-time police officer. And then the fourth position was what, Jason, I'm blanking on?
Maintenance.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, here we are opening up a maintenance garage, and we have finally a dedicated location where our equipment, our hand tools, and our vehicles can be worked on in one location. It makes sense to have somebody specialized to do this. I think the budget that we've been giving today is one that we can afford, and these positions are, if you look at the salary ranges, they're not huge salary ranges. I think the police officer at 72,000 might have been the highest position. The mechanic maybe was 32. I mean, these are not exorbitant.
49.
Pardon?
49.
For the mechanic?
Yes.
So anyway, these are not exorbitant wages for skills that we need and that staff has shown that we can afford. And I'm in favor of moving forward with funding, approving the budget with all 4 positions in it.
One thing, too, I want to mention real quick is that when we have a key full-time position leave, we reevaluate the organizational structure to say, do we still need this position? Not that we're keeping them there just for the fun of it, but it's just a practice that we do where if a position opens up, what can we do to shift things around to maybe not have to fill that position? And that does happen from time to time. So.
And the positions don't immediately get filled the day the budget is approved. It takes time. So if they're budgeted for a year, maybe we don't fill that position, for 3-4 months. So the cost probably plays out to be less than what's in the budget.
Yeah, so I think that, you bring up the points about the salaries and you think that they're not that high, but the salary is just the tip of the iceberg. Then comes the health insurance, then comes the IMRF, and it's basically a lifetime annuity for that person until they die. And so it gets to be millions of dollars for any full-time position that you add. And you have to think, can we accomplish the same thing with part-time? It would be a fraction of the cost, a fraction of the cost. So again, I would think that we should hire someone for the special rec, but I think that's the only one this year, and I think we should fill the positions as we need to with part-time people. We've already got 72 employees full-time, and that's a lot of employees full-time.
Not for an organization looking at a $26 million budget.
I think it would be foolish not to have an IT coordinator. I think especially in this day and age when technology just keeps increasing year by year by year, and we've already had security issues and things that needed to be taken care of. And I just know, working personally in a school district for many, many years of my life, that it used to be we didn't have all that technology, and now we have no control over how that goes and how much more it ends up being and how much faster you've got to be able to learn how to use new systems and implement those systems. And I think it would be foolish not to hire a full-time IT person.
And just to give a little more background on the IT stuff, we currently contract through a company that provides our service. And we're behind. I mean, we get new equipment and it sits and it sits and it sits, and it's kind of like, when's the next version coming out? Because we might as well trade it in for that. And it's no fault of the IT company. They walk in the door and 3 people grab them and say, hey, I need you to do this, or I need you to do that. And time again, we go to staff and say, don't grab the IT guy when he gets here. He's got a list of things to do, let them get them done. Why is your new computer not on your desk? Because you grabbed him yesterday and asked him to do 3 other things. So we're behind, so we need that help. Could we do it through asking them to provide more hours through the IT company? Possibly, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. And this person would be more geared towards getting us up to speed on where we're at,
So
or where we
Jason,
need to be.
has anyone done a financial analysis of that? Because in my company, we hire out that, and we have a guy that, he's in our office almost every day. And so we have access to that person, but we don't pay all that stuff on him. His employer does, but we still have great access to IT.
Mhm.
Have you guys done a cost analysis on that?
It would essentially double what we're paying them now to bring them in for all the hours that we need. What that amount is, I don't know off the top of my head. I
How
probably
does
should
that
have that.
compare
But
to hiring a full-time?
it would probably be close. We have budgeted, salary-wise, 62,000 for that position. And if we were, basically, we'd be doubling their hours, so it would probably be close to that.
Why did you eliminate the IT position?
We
whenever
actually
that
never
was?
had it.
Oh.
It was in the budget for 3 years, but we never filled it. And at the time when we were looking to fill it, we went back to the IT company and said, we're looking to do this. And I don't want to say they talked us out of it, but they said, here's what we're going to do for you to fix that situation. It worked for a while, but it's not working anymore. Just because like Mike said, technology's getting better. We're trying to do more with it, and we're falling behind.
And then how many desktops are in the Park District?
That's a tough.
400, 200, 20? How many?
I'd say we're probably around 100.
100?
Based on everything that's in the facilities, staff that have them.
Is that 100 including like an iPad, or is that an actual tied to the network type unit?
That would just be actual computers. So whether it's a desktop or a laptop.
And then the current IT contract, is that 24-hour maintenance, patching, all those?
Yeah, they're available whenever we call.
But are they doing those types of, is that service being provided through when you guys are not around?
Yes.
Monitoring?
Like the time that our system was hacked, he found it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's when it occurred.
And then we also have internet in the buildings, multiple buildings.
No, I understand. It's just a wireless connection, but, so what this IT person is gonna do, I guess I would really like to, what is this person really
So they're
going
going
to
to
do?
be more involved with setting up the day-to-day. New computers come in, they get them set up for staff. Phones come in, they get them set up. iPads come in, they get them set up. Be involved with training staff on how to use certain programs and things like that. The contractor then would be solely responsible for the overall IT needs as far as our servers and everything that goes along with that. Firewalls, really all the back end things, I'll call it. And that's what they excel at. That's what they're good at. They get to sit in the little room and not talk to us.
Well, and I think that there is something to be said about relationships that occur between a full-time IT person that works directly with the people that are part of the Park District. There's a lot more, I guess they would be part of the team, and I think that having someone that's from the outside or contracted, you wouldn't necessarily get that.
So I think that it's been my experience that you do get that. We have the same person all the time, or the same 2 people all the time. They know our system inside and out. They know where the problems are. So I'm not sure that this is something that you're going to notice anything different, except just have it cost more. And I think no one here is trying to chintz on services. We're trying to do services in the best way possible.
I'm not sure if you know, I'm a IT tech. And so in my experience, obviously I'm full-time, not obviously, I am full-time at my job. And we have done some studies on our end of our company to see if we should outsource to have different techs instead of hiring. And the cost to outsource comes out way more money than to have a salary person, a full-time salary. So I believe, and especially hearing what Jason was saying, understanding the tech field, that this is not a huge amount of money for the IT tech position. So I think that we should hire for a tech. I understand what they're going through, being on the other side.
Karen, when your company did the cost analysis, did you look at things like health insurance and retirement? Okay, thank you.
It was way cheaper to have a person on staff than to outsource.
So at your company, you have IMRF for all your employees?
No, but we have, you have the normal things,
Okay,
401ks
that's much
and
cheaper than
everything.
IMRF. 401k is much cheaper.
I understand.
That's employee funded, and IMRF is, we're guaranteeing it. Apples and oranges.
Yes, but when you're giving someone, paying into a pension, you've got more of a commitment of someone who, I mean, you're attracting them not just because of their salary, but you're attracting them because of that possibility too.
It seems to me that this IT as a career is moved to people that work from their home and log into a system.
I'm in-house. They're not all that way anymore, because they're finding that you have to touch things, you have to communicate with the user in person. I think of Jason, he knows my story about my iPad that I got here, and it took a lot longer than it needed to be because I couldn't sit with him side to side. So it took longer for me to get it.
And we expect this position to be on site all the time. They're the person that, hey, something's going on here, can you fix this? They're gonna walk into your office and take care of it right then and there. Whereas we don't have that luxury right now. We can call him and he can access it on the back end and take over your computer, but that doesn't always fix it.
So
Yeah,
Jason, are we voting on this, or are we just giving you?
I have more questions, so I'm not ready to vote on anything at the moment. So from my own personal experience with my business, I have struggled with whether to hire somebody, and in my analysis, I couldn't justify it. So I'm not saying that's, but I don't have 100 desktops either. I have 25, so it's considerably less. But it just, and we get great service with the 24 hours. If something happens in the middle of the night, somebody is there to fix it. So it just seems like this type of monitoring is more off-site than it is on. So,
What would the board think about directing staff to go forward with increasing the consultant position and seeing how much time is required and asking staff to come back to us when it reaches 2/3 of the budgeted full-time position and we can reevaluate or something like that?
So I think it'd be interesting to keep track of how much we spend on it this year with however we do it, bringing in extra people and having them help, and then we can look at it versus what it would be to put a full-time in that position, and then next year we can approach it again, because then we'll have data to look at from the whole year.
But allow staff to hire our consultant up to the budgeted amount for the salary.
By consultant, do you mean a service?
Correct.
Okay.
So expand the hours of our current consultant not to exceed the amount we have for the salary.
Would that give you more time?
Sure. I think I see where you guys are coming from, and it can give us an opportunity to try to paint a clearer picture and have some better answers.
And we'll make sure we have the excellent services that you need.
Jason, do you feel that the consultant that you have can adequately meet the needs right now?
We'll see. I can't answer that question, honestly.
Okay.
I have a question now that you brought up. You were saying that when the consultant would come in to the office, they would already have a list of things to do. So it sounds to me that you're not, that you still have more things that they need to do, but they weren't able to put him on the list at that time?
Mhm.
Is that how it worked? Okay.
Yeah. Typically, when he gets there, Tina will have a list of things that he should work on, or he already knows what he needs to be working on a lot of the time. But what we would look to do is ask them to send an additional body, not just expand his hours, because it's just gonna, in my opinion, it's just gonna snowball the problem. It's not gonna fix it. We need another body there to actually be helping. So, whether we expand his hours or have another person, I think having another person is gonna get us to where we need to be, as opposed to just giving one guy more hours. So I'm agreeable to that, using that amount to, like I said, not to exceed, to expand the contractor's hours and see where it goes.
Okay, so we've agreed on that person, or on that money, and then we've agreed on, I think we've
sorry,
agreed
Fred.
on the special rec person, we've agreed on that, right? Does everybody agree on that?
The
Hiring special rec?
Yes, let's fund it.
Okay. So what were the other two that we need to talk about?
A maintenance position and the police position.
Jason, you had done you provided us with some figures, didn't you, that showed full-time versus the part-time with all the revolving door training? Didn't you show that it was not that much more?
Yeah, I don't know that we provided anything, but I do know that, I think what was provided was an explanation that the police, they go through a lot more training when we onboard them than other staff do, because of the nature of their position and what the ins and outs of what they need to know throughout the district. And just the police work in general, it requires a lot more, I'll call mandatory training. I mean, a lot of it is they spend, I believe it's a month riding around with another officer to understand the job and get the lay of the land. So when those positions turn over, it's more costly than pretty much any of our other positions. Because onboarding, there's a cost to that.
So I think, again, onboarding is a fraction of the cost of health insurance and IMRF until you die. And I think that we've got a luxury to have such an excellent police force, but it's a luxury, and it's something that 3% of park districts have. And I think that we really have to focus on our special needs population right now and make sure we keep our powder dry, because if we increase 300% in 1 year, maybe we'll increase 500% next year. 300%'s a lot. And it's the same with the maintenance person. All that stuff can be contracted out, and you can send a truck to get repaired. You can have a contract with any of the service stations around town, and they've been doing it in the past, and then you don't have to pay their health insurance and their IMRF.
I do have a question about the maintenance. Is there a mechanic now?
Yes, we currently have a mechanic now. To give you a little background, we used to have 2 mechanics. Kind of alluding to what Jason said earlier about when a position retires, we look, we could reconsider that position, whether it's a need or a want. That individual retired probably, 5-6 years ago, Jason? So it's definitely something we've tried, we've experimented with. We do need another mechanic in our view. For example, we have, 50-plus trucks alone. That's just trucks, that's the fleet. And we have 1 person working on that. We have many mowers, many tractors, small equipment, things like that. That's that's something we really need.
What do you do now if that one person cannot keep up with the needs?
Good question. We actually have to pull people off. A lot of people are capable of doing oil changes and air filters and things like that. We'll actually have to pull people off the crews for mowing or tree work or different things like that to, get some of the maintenance done. Or we have to source a lot of it out, where, as what Fred said, we'll take it out to a shop, and look at it.
So are we having work stoppages because we don't have adequate mechanical support?
Absolutely. That's a definite, and that's part of the issue. If we have something go down, we either have to drop everything to kind of work on that, and we can't get some of the other stuff done. or we have to schedule an appointment to send it in to get it, looked at. It's definitely a balancing act.
Thank you.
Can you give some examples of that? Like last year, were there like fields or parks that didn't get to be mowed and they got like 2 feet tall before we could mow them, or is it?
Well, to
has
be
there been
fair,
any?
yeah, to be fair, we've never had anything quite
Like
like
that,
that.
right.
But for example, when it snows, if we have vehicles break down, we have, plows break down, it's a constant battle. And quite honestly, our mechanics fantastic, top notch. However, I'd say I think our equipment would be better taken care of if we had another mechanic to kind of reinforce that, in-house.
Yeah, I know the city of Crystal Lake has a lot of good mechanics and their stuff breaks all the time, especially when it snows.
And it's even harder when you don't have the other mechanics to help out with that.
Do you have, is there one other individual there that helps your full-time guy? Like you always have, whatever, Jim is always his guy.
Yeah,
Help or-
it's kind of like, everybody's kind of like cross-trained a bit in that area. So if someone, we try to pull somebody that is not as busy as the others, but it varies. So we do a good job of cross-training, but it's the basics. When we have like a mower that's down, some of our equipment, quite frankly, is over $100,000. And we're not looking at small equipment. And we need to have that experience and knowledge for a lot of that.
Do you feel like you would be hiring more of an auto mechanic or a small engine implement mechanic? What's your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts would be to have somebody that is kind of cross-trained in that, some experience. I'd like to see, right now, our fleets a little bit is newer, on the newer end. A lot of our equipment and tractors on that end, small engines, as well as I guess it'd be larger engines with the tractors. That's where our fleet's aging a bit. It would be nice to have some backup on that end. So if I had to choose, I would go that route. I'd go more in the smaller engines, tractor type, agricultural equipment.
Is your current full-time mechanic more auto mechanic or small engine?
He's more auto, but he's well-versed in, right.
Okay, thank you.
And then Eric, some of the things that need to get done with the current maintenance garage, you don't have room for the mechanic to do all of that work too, is that right?
Correct. I don't have the actual numbers. I feel that, well, I'm confident that, in our newer facility, we would have the capability of actually trying to offset some of those costs of another full-time person, because we would have the area to work in to do more of the, mechanical maintenance.
So in your opinion, it's justified to have that extra mechanic, especially with the increase in the size of the maintenance?
I'd even say it'd be at a disadvantage if we didn't, simply because there's an opportunity there to hone in and really get our stuff, taken care of in-house.
And the salary that you anticipate to begin on year one, I'm just looking at it, and it doesn't, I'm not sure, how competitive is that? Is that attractive?
That's something I'm not quite sure about myself. We'd have to look into that a little bit more.
Because seems to be a shortage of mechanics throughout everywhere, so I would imagine that to get a good mechanic.
That was pulled from our salary pay grade scale that was revised this year.
Okay.
So it should be accurate. Yeah.
So you think it would work to do much like Kathy's idea with our last position, and that is to send out stuff like you've been doing when you don't have time to repair it, have your mechanic be kind of like the general of the ship, and he knows what he can send out and what he can fix himself, and then keep track of that over this year and see what it costs you compared to a full-time over the lifetime of their life.
I think one of the things we run into, though, and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll use the small engine equipment as an example. If we have to run that over to a repair shop, we get on their list. So it may be done tomorrow, it may be done in 3 weeks, whereas a lot of this equipment needs to be back in the field today.
Yes. So we don't have a lot of backup when it comes to our equipment. If it's down, it's down. We don't necessarily get our larger mowers when they're down. It's down. We have such a big, a vast area of parks to cut and mow, for example. If one of them's down, there's parks that are not getting cut until we get that fixed.
So have you looked into contracting out your mowing?
We currently do. And
So you don't have to fix the mowers then? You-
That's
No,
item
Those are the
8A.
small parks, like the neighborhood parks throughout the district. So we have 43 parks, 42 parks, that all have to be cut.
So what percent are you mowing yourself and what
I
percent are
believe we're
you?
up to 20 parks contractually mowing. So we do pretty good, but they're all smaller. So for example, like VA, Lippold, that's all in-house. That would, that's something we
Is it possible to hire a part-time mechanic?
Not a bad idea. The concern is that we need somebody with that skill set. That's what we're really looking for. Part-time will be difficult. Somebody with that skill set is most likely gonna be working full-time. That'd be very difficult to find.
Could we, what if
But
we?
not impossible though, right?
What if
Well,
we?
nothing's impossible.
What if we directed you to look for a part-time mechanic, and if you were unable to find one within 2-month period, come back to the board, and we would agree to take another look at making this a full-time position? Would you be willing to try that?
I'm willing to try anything, Kathy.
Well,
I would just say, though, that it might take 2 months or even longer just to even get that position filled. Simply because that's not an odd position, but I think it would be with what we're looking for. So somebody to come in with that skill set to take care of the small engines and tractors would be difficult with somebody part-time. Usually those people are pretty honed in on their skills and they're working full-time somewhere.
Yeah.
They're not easy to find.
But I think you said we haven't had this person for 5 years, so it's not gonna be an emergency to find it, but you
No.
have some time to look for it.
There's no emergency
No
for sure.
emergency.
However, I think it's kind of we're not very efficient. I guess that's the best way to put it. We're not as efficient as we could be.
Work stoppages are work stoppages. It's not in our best interest to have stuff not getting done and people being unable to work.
No, I just asked him about the work stoppages, though. He says there really hasn't been a significant one.
Well, no, we do have the works. Like I said, if a piece of equipment is down and we
Right.
can't work on it, that area is not getting cut. It is a work stoppage.
Right, but for
You know,
how long does that go, and for what kind of a problem does it create? And over the last 5 years, what kind of issues have there been?
Well,
in
we're
terms of
we're
work
really good at
stoppages?
making up time and,
Right.
but there's other factors to figure out too. So for example, if like say a park doesn't get cut because we can't get to it with a mower and that other mower has to go across town, what have you, to make up for it, we're probably paying overtime now to staff. to take
Still
care of it.
cheaper,
What's that?
still cheaper,
A little cheaper?
still cheaper. To pay some overtime, still cheaper.
Cheaper isn't always better. I think what you're hung up on, Fred, is you're hung up on this idea of paying someone's benefits. And I think to have a good work environment, having your benefits paid for at the detriment of probably a salary that may not be so good can sometimes get someone to work for you. But I just think the dignity of a person and having some benefits as part of their job, I think is important. And I think a lot of people in the community would agree with that.
Keith, what do you think? You've been quiet.
I've been quiet. I'm digesting all of this. Honestly, I'm absolutely in favor of the special rec manager position. It's high need. I like what we're doing with IT, setting a salary threshold or consultant threshold and revisiting, because that's really the only way or the best way to determine whether or not we're going to go keep it out-house as a consulting or in-house. I'm a little bit torn on the mechanic issue. Compelling arguments on both sides. I'm just digesting it. I'm processing and not speaking, so I apologize. But I do have thoughts on it, but I'm just not ready to start spewing.
I'm in the same predicament. There's a lot to process. Like you said, there's arguments on both sides. That's why I've been quiet as well, listening to both sides, but I'm having a hard time.
Well, I think the happy medium is what Kathy proposed with the other two positions, and that is to fill them as we need with part-time, see how much it costs us, and revisit it. And if it makes sense to do full-time, then we'll have the data to make that decision. So it's not a hard no, but it's a let's see.
My only comment, or a comment on the mechanic, so he's asking for 40-hour person and you're proposing a 20-hour person. That's not apples to apples either. So we waited 5 years, or I'll say waited. They've worked without 2 mechanics for 5 years, and they've come to this decision that it's time to ask us for a mechanic. And so I believe we need a mechanic. So I don't know, I hear what you're saying, Fred, fully about the benefits, but it's like like Mike said, this is the Park District. Working for the Park District, you get these benefits. This is part of the job, and this is part of our job as the board to know that these people are gonna get benefits. And so I do believe that we should approve the mechanic for sure, because I think we waited the 5 years. They would not have put it on here if they didn't need it.
Well, remember, they put 8 positions on here, and they knew they weren't gonna get 8, so they're asking for more than they know will be approved.
And we're coming down to 4,
Yeah.
8 to 4.
So it was a 10% increase in full-time employees that they asked for.
Well, I think that we're also forgetting the experience of our staff and what they need, and they went back and they came up with a plan that reduced it by 4 full-time staff and still came up with, in my opinion, 4 needed positions that would improve what we have already, and I just don't see why that is so over the top. I don't understand that at all.
And I've never seen an ask for 4 employees before full-time positions, and I can't imagine that we would see an ask for 4 full-time positions again for many years. This is not normal here.
Right, it's not normal. I agree.
But it's exceptional. I think staff would not be asking for it if it was not a real need. And so far, we've taken the IT position and moved it from a full-time position to a contractual one with a salary, with an expenditure limit. So we're looking at 3 full-time positions right now. And I think the budget justifies it. It's a zero-based budget, which cannot get to be more of a rigorous budgeting process than what staff has used for the last 2 years. They show us that we can afford this, and they've demonstrated the need. I think it's our job to support staff, and we've clearly made fiscally prudent decisions by going from 8 to 3. I think it's time to say yes.
Rich, do you have anything to say?
I don't know. Maintaining equipment is important. There's no question. I do it in my own business. It is important. It keeps you from buying and spending on more capital investments. This person is not gonna, let's just say, I'm sure there's gonna be work to do all the time, but this person is gonna plow snow, or she is gonna mow lawns if there's a spot. They don't just stay inside, or how does that?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay, so they would.
It's all hands on deck. You know, if our mechanic was not working on, say, a mechanical piece of equipment, they'd be working on something else in the field, or, you know, plowing snow, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of that position, so that's where I'm at with that one. The inclusion thing, I'm in favor of as well. I'd like to see the police officer stay with the part-time, to be honest with you. That may not be popular, but, and then the IT suggestion, I think, is a good suggestion.
You want to make those all as motions? That we can vote?
I don't know, you asked my opinion, so I just blurted it out.
Okay, well, let's get this done. So I think that, I'll make the motion, I guess, that we stay with part-time for the police, that we stay stay with part-time for the IT. We hire the special needs. And we hire the maintenance guy.
I will second that motion.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Tizinga?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda.
What about program fee
Oh,
increases?
sorry, program fee, yeah. Okay, so, Jason, you want to go over the program fees? We were going to talk about this and how much we were going to increase them this year for non-residents. So this has nothing to do with any of the residents of the Park District, just so everyone's aware in the audience, nothing to do with residents. This is non-resident fees.
Well, what we put together, it was actually, we were asked to put together what the fees were going up, resident rates and non-resident rates. So the chart that Kurt put together shows you what the rates were for 2025 and what we're proposing them to be for 2026, both for residents and non-residents. There's another topic on the agenda was reviewing the non-resident fee policy. So if we're looking to change the non-resident fee policy, that would then impact how we're determining non-resident fees. So it's two different things. So the chart that's in front of you shows the rates for several of the programs that we offer. So for example, sailing camp for residents, $175, non-resident $228 for 2026. The rates haven't gone up. So I'm not going to sit here and read the whole list, but that's shows how the programs have increased in fees.
So I was going to propose that instead of that increase, that we actually do a 50% increase for all non-resident fees across the board from last year to this coming year. So if somebody's paying $20 to rent a picnic table and they're a non-resident, it would be $30. It'd be 50% more.
So I think we need to start with the policy because that's what dictates how the fees are set. So if we want to do that, we need to revise the policy. And it's in the packet for tonight if you want to look at it. We did this, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. We changed the non-resident fee, and in comparison, at 30%, we're the highest park district in the area. Most are at 10% or $10, depending on what it is. But not that I'm just throwing that out there as that was part of the process last time, was to compare what other places do. But I think reviewing the policy, it also helps us determine what our philosophy is on why we want to set non-resident fees at a certain rate. So I think that's where we need to start, as opposed to just saying, let's just increase them to 50% this year. There's a lot of other discussion that has to happen. What do we want to do with non-resident sports teams using our fields? Our affiliate groups, that's a whole nother area that would probably need to be discussed if we're looking at, if the philosophy is we need people that don't live here to be paying more, then how far are we taking that? Is it just for these programs that show up in our brochures? Is it for people that rent our buildings and facilities? Is it for, we've got a lot of, a travel affiliate team, every time they play a game, 50% of the people on that field at least are non-residents if they're coming from another town. And that doesn't include the kids that are on the Crystal Lake team that may be from another town. So, how deep of a dive does the board want to take into that? And I think that needs to all be part of the discussion. I think if we just do a blanket, hey, it's 50%, that's really not the complete picture we need to be looking at. Kurt, I don't know if you want to throw anything else on top of that, but.
No, I think you said it very well. I think that, just from my perspective, these are what you have in front of your program fees. The facility fees, the board approved just a couple of months ago, so those have already been implemented for the next year. And some of these program fees we've already got listed for the summertime. So if the board, when we did this a couple years ago, it was a lengthy discussion and a process, and we did comparative analysis, we talked to a bunch of people. It wasn't just kind of a straight decision. There was a lot of thought and process that went into that. So I don't think staff is necessarily opposed to going through the process, but I would agree with Jason that there's more into it than just taking where we're already pretty much the highest one and making us even higher without seeing what impact that's going to have on our programs overall.
So I asked Jason if he could provide us with information about what percentage of program participants were residents versus non-residents, so we could understand the impact that we'd be having. And he said staff could put this information together, but not for tonight. So I move to table this discussion until June. I move to table it because we have things in print already that we cannot change and will not affect. This is a discussion that needs a longer process and better data to understand the impact of, we're going to be losing money, are we going to be gaining more money, are we going to be, turning people away from programs? I mean, I thought 40% would be fine. Let's give residents a 5% cut, increase non-residents by 5%, and get to 40% that way. But we don't know what any of this would mean without looking at more data and taking a careful look. Our job tonight is to approve a budget. These program fees are already in print. So I move to table this till June so that we can have a thoughtful investigation and discussion about this when it makes more sense.
I would second that.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of just picking a blanket of 50% or whatever. I would agree with tabling it so we can think it through. Have you guys do your analysis. You probably look at some of this and go, you know what, we probably could do a little bit more on certain things. I think it just needs some more time. I don't think it's something we have to do today.
I know, Kurt, when we talked about the non-resident fees at the racket club, and we wondered if we raised them too much and how much some of the local private tennis clubs were, and how many people that are already coming in that are non-residents would just say, oh, I'm going to go someplace else. So I would like to know a little bit more, like, analysis of that as well, like at what's the price point that would turn people away that just would say, okay, it's just not in my budget this year, I'm not going to do it just because of the non-resident rate is too high.
The tough thing with that, though, too, is that that's different for everybody.
But, yeah.
And I get what you're saying, but Kurt and I actually had that discussion yesterday, that, well, that's great, but, my pocketbook might be bigger than yours, so that non-resident fee is not going to scare me away, but it's going to scare you away.
Yeah.
So there's so many variables that can go into this. And
I just am speaking anecdotally from when we raised the non-resident beach fees, and I can tell you we had a turnstile of people that pulled in and found out when the rate went up, they were just like, well, I'm not going to come, I'm not going to bring the family here anymore. And then they would go down the street and find a way to sneak in.
I think
There's
one
a will,
final
there's a way.
note, just to be aware too, when we say non-resident, it doesn't mean that they don't live in Crystal Lake. It just means that they're not paying taxes to the park district. We have a lot of people, I pulled some examples of like our after-school basketball program, where all of the kids go to North Elementary, but only half of them are considered residents because they live in a part of Crystal Lake that doesn't pay taxes to the district. For a lot of people that live over by Indian Prairie, there's a huge patch over there where the kids go to, they might go to one of the elementary schools, they go to Crystal Lake South, they're members of the library, but they're not members of the park district. So with non-residents, it's not just people coming from Marengo or McHenry or Harvard coming to use our services. It's the people that might live as close as Karen and I do, but the line between resident and non-resident is between us.
So with this, do you think it's possible to get us the data? Because I've asked for this data a couple of times and it hasn't materialized. I'd like to see resident versus non-resident revenue by service line and to see what the numbers actually are so we can actually make an educated decision. I mean, I love what Kathy said. I'm in complete agreement. We need to have data. And we make a lot of decisions on this board without data. And it'd be nice to be data-driven. That's kind of the best way to do things. So if you can bring us, and I think we should start with, just the activities that people do. We can get to the other things like the baseball field, but, the programs that we're running and what are we charging? We know that, the main beach is like 70%, I think 70% non-residents. So the fee's not scaring anybody away. And we're paying taxes for this. So we're providing a service. So people that come, that aren't paying the taxes should pay their fair share to come and enjoy all the things we have. We want to welcome everyone, but we want to be financially viable so that we can welcome everyone. We have some, the park, I think the rec club is like 70% non-residents that go there. And so you can correct me with the facts though, but I need someone to start correcting me with those facts. So we should all have, everyone on the board should have those facts. Let's go service line, let's go by activity, let's go by travel teams. In some park districts, if you have one person that lives in the park district, you can call that a Crystal Lake baseball team. But there's only one person on the whole team that's from Crystal Lake. So we need to dig deep into this and figure out what's really happening, because we want to provide even more services, but we want to be financially viable and financially responsible. So we need the data. Can we have it by June?
We can always get data. I would just want to know, I know you kind of laid out there, but exactly what are we looking for?
Okay, we're looking.
Just because tonight, I thought this was what the board was asking for with the resident fees in front of it. So if we can lock down, hey, this is exactly what we want, then we can make sure if we get to June, I'm not presenting something in the board saying this is not exactly what we're looking for.
Well, and I think a lot of what you had asked me before, we have. So
So like, we have like 1,000 programs, you said. So let's take all 1,000, let's put it on a graph. Let's, judo, hot yoga, all the things we're doing. What is that, resident versus non-resident? What do they pay for each one, line items? And then go with baseball field, go with,
I said to him, how many people in the class?
right. Right, and then you look at the revenue generated by it, because, if we look at anything, any softball, whatever it is, and you can go, wow, we're running this softball thing, we're hiring 5 full-time people to run this softball class, and it turns out that 80% are non-residents, and we're only charging them $5 more to be in the class than a resident. We're like, ooh, that's not penciling out very well.
I think your chart that you created is fine. You're just gonna create other columns that'll have that information in it. That this is exactly what you did is perfect. It's just two more columns, I think.
So it's resident versus non-resident participation along with the revenue each of those are generating for each program.
But Kurt, I think it's also important when you said that some of the non-residents go to Crystal Lake schools. And I feel like, if you have a kid it's not that kid's fault that their family doesn't live within the park district, but they are going to the same school with all the other kids that are. And so it feels like it's almost like a little.
The library now allows kids who aren't residents to get library cards so they can be with their peers and access the same material. So that's a great example of that. But how about, can we have a vote so we can table this and go on?
So there's a motion been made to table, so yeah, let's vote.
And more data.
I think the motion was to table and to have data by the June meeting.
Yeah.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, that's my motion.
Anybody opposed? Everybody in favor? Okay. Last one is performance review distribution.
So we were asked to put together, hang on, let me get to that. So we were asked to put together the performance review distribution scores. So the executive summary shows the information that was requested. It shows the bell curve. It's there. I don't know if there's comments or any discussion anyone wants to have about it.
So my comment is, I don't think we need to budget for a 4% salary increase. I think we need to budget for a 2% salary increase, because based on this distribution, some people are going to get a 4% and some people are going to get a 1%, but the average is going to be about a 2%. And I think at 2%, to plan on that, that's an aggressive raise as well. So I think 2% is a reasonable number based on what you showed me. That's what I got out of it.
What I got out of it was that the bell curve looked very responsible. It was clear that we were not giving out ultra fantastic job reviews so that people, to everyone, we were being discreet and evaluative in the process and it looks like when great job reviews were given out, they were merited, because it was, it wasn't everyone, and it looked to me, it gave me great reassurance that the staff was being very responsible with tax dollars and with care of the park district, and I was reassured by this. I don't feel any need to change how staff is giving out this merit raise or doing performance evaluations. It looked to me like they were doing a great job, and I was pleased to see that. I am pleased to see that.
I think we just said the same thing, Kathy. I agree with you. And that's why I said that I think we're making the budget right now, and I think it'd be reasonable. I think we can hit our goals that I see there with allocating 2%, not allocating 4%. We'll be fine with 2%. I don't think that we're gonna run out of money with that.
Well, that's where we disagree. I think the 4% is fine. I don't think, first of all, we've been told that the 4% doesn't always get used up, and I think staff deserves to be compensated when they're doing an extremely good job. We just heard from everyone during Jason's recognition that we have a phenomenal staff, and phenomenal staff aren't limited to 2%, I think. I think phenomenal staff, it starts with trusting the executive director to manage raises and evaluations correctly and have some freedom on how to dole them out and recognize good work.
I completely agree with you, and that's why I said that if the average is gonna be 2%, some people are gonna get 4%, some people are gonna get no raise. That's just the way it works, right? And so you'll have plenty of money if you set that money aside. And yes, some people will get 4%. I agree.
So why are you saying to
Because
reduce the
Because
funding?
the average number to allocate is 2%, and then you take that 2%, some people are gonna get 4, some people are gonna get 1, but the average is gonna be 2.
Yeah, but it's a large, you're cutting the pot that we have in the budget by half.
Everybody's gonna get the same raise they were going to get.
No, you can't cut the pot in half and say it's the same.
Yeah, you can, because everyone's not getting, if you have to take 4%, then you're saying that everyone's getting a 4% raise, that's why
No,
you need it.
no one has ever said that everyone gets the same raise, ever.
Right, and we know they don't, because we just looked at it.
Let's see if I'm correct on this. It's 4% on the whole pool of money that would be allocated towards salary raises.
Correct.
Yeah.
He wants to change it to 2.
Yeah, I mean, because I get it. If you've been working here for a long time and you've got a pretty decent salary, 4% is a heck of a lot more of a raise than the person who's just starting, that, is their salary starts out at whatever, and you're giving them a 4%, which I think in the beginning, having something like that for that person means, oh, maybe I'll stick around for a couple more years if I'm getting it. But that would depend on what we decide, like internally from
The percentage that's going to be used is plugged into a matrix that spits out what the raises are going to be, and it's based on the merit score, it's based on the percentage of what the merit pool is. So yeah, if it goes from 4 to 2, that number in the matrix lowers it, and in turn reduces the wages, the raises.
Do we have a number that says the average salary increase at the next review period will be the average? 3% will be the average?
That'd be a pretty high average, 3.
But
I'm not sure I understand the.
well, for example, my employer, we set that number. The average increase will be 3%. Some people will get 5% that excel. Some people will get 1% that underachieve. But some people get 2, some people get 4, but overall, the average payout will be 3% pay increase. In the world I come from, that's how that number is set. So when I hear that we're budgeting 4% for salaries, that means we're shooting 4% for everybody. Some might get 2, some might get 6.
It's a 4% pool of money, a merit pool. So what that means is it's based solely on their performance. So they're going to get an evaluation that's going to have a score tied to it that is plugged into that matrix that then spits out that number. We would have an average of increases after we do that process for you. And typically, it's not going to be near 4%.
I mean, on a typical year, do we use the whole pool? I mean,
No,
I don't.
we rarely do.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, is there also a cost of living increase?
No.
So again, I think this is pretty straightforward. If the average is probably a 2% raise, some people are gonna get no raise. That happens sometimes. In my business, it does, and some people are gonna get 4%. But the average sounds like it's 2. And so if you have that money allocated, you have enough money to give some people 4, you have enough money to give some people 1, you have enough money to give some people 3, because the average is about 2. Nobody here is trying to shortchange anybody. We're trying to just allocate the right amount of money to this pool.
You cap it at I believe this was at the March 2nd meeting, you talked about this, right? Where it spits it out, it's no matter what, even if it comes out at 5.5, it's still 4. It's capped?
No. So the 4%, what that means is the board's approving a 4% pool of cash that'll be used towards raises. Based on how your merit your evaluation goes, it's a merit increase. So when it, let's say my average is like a 3.23, that's plugged in, it spits it out with the 4% as the number. It's gonna come back and it's gonna say you get a 2.7% raise based on your score. So don't ask me how the formula works, because that's not my thing, but that's, in simplified terms, that's how it kicks it out. So there's no cap. There's some people, if they get all 5s, they may end up with a 5.6% raise. That rarely happens because our grading is somewhat hard, which is how we end up being under that pool of money every year.
Do you know what percentage of that, if you're asking us for a 4%, do you normally use 3%, 3.5, 2.5? What do you use?
For what?
That merit you're asking
Oh,
us.
how much do we use?
Correct. What percentage do you use?
I don't know.
So,
We don't typically spend all the dollars.
in the spirit of moving this conversation forward, hold on, in the spirit of moving this forward, so hopefully we can approve the budget tonight, what if I move that we change the pool of merit raises available to 3.5%. Anyone want to second that?
I would second that. It seems it's fiscally responsible, and yet I'm guessing that even with the 3.5%, there's a possibility you may not use it all. I mean, and when it's not used, it can go back into another fund, right?
No, it'll stay there, it just won't get used.
Okay.
It'll go into the fund balance. But as far as whether it's 3.5 or 4%, that doesn't dictate whether it's all going to be used or not. Just because we're getting less money doesn't mean we're going to use it all up. Again, it goes into that formula where that percentage helps dictate, based on your score evaluation, what your monetary increase is going to be. I don't know. I don't have the data.
So I'm just.
I don't know that it's relevant data at this point.
So I'm going to second your motion, so 3.5.
She already did. Mike already did.
Okay, let's vote.
And then can we please, I'm sorry, can I speak one more time?
Yes.
Can we please ask that for future budget considerations, staff let us know what part of this pool they used and what was not used?
Sure. Couldn't agree more.
Revisit it when the next budget comes and see where it's at.
Correct.
Yeah. Only 1 year.
Okay, is anybody opposed? No, okay, so we're done with the budget.
Okay, so what'll happen next is we will put the budget on display for the 30 days it's required to be on display with the changes that were discussed tonight, and we'll have it on the agenda for approval at the April 20th board meeting.
Thank you. We passed the
Yes,
budget.
yeah.
Woo-hoo.
That'll be part of it. It's not passed yet.
Okay. All right, consent agenda. Approval of the voucher expenses for the month ending February 28, 2026, in the amount of $515,779.64. Approval of the interim voucher expenses for the month ending March 31, 2026, in the amount of $38,312.35. Accept the treasurer's report for the month ending February 28, 2026, in the amount of $14,412,199.55. Approval of the regular meeting minutes 2/17/26. Approval of the budget meeting minutes 3/2/26. Approval of Helping Paws Animal Shelter Event Request FP.
Seconded,
Any discussion?
yes. Just, it's really small, under F, Helping Paws Animal Shelter Event Request. It should say NFP, that means for-profit or not-for-profit, and Helping Paws is a registered 501c3 organization, which I verified today. So it helps us know when we approve these requests if it's a for-profit organization or not-for-profit. So it's just a little glitch, but in case you didn't know what it meant, that's what it's for.
Do we have a second?
Kathy seconded.
I seconded.
Okay, so let's vote.
Commissioner Heisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes, excluding the minutes from 3/2, because I was not in attendance, and excluding interim voucher expenses month ending March 31st, 26. Anything that relates to Charles Herdrick.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Zizinga?
Present. Items removed from the consent agenda. I think there are none. Agenda items. 2026 contractual mowing bid.
You want to explain it?
Absolutely. So we had three bidders, Mark One, Malou Design, GC Designs, and our lowest bidder was $68,440 with Mark One Landscape. That's the recommendation for the board to approve that for our 2026 contractual mowing.
I move to approve the, go ahead.
My question is, how do you determine what you contract and what you do in-house?
Needs, what we need for efficiencies. So we obviously, like I kind of mentioned earlier, we wouldn't do a large park like Lipple Park. That would, contract something like that out, it wouldn't be great, because we want to make sure everything is top-notch with there. In regards to, we tend to just hit the smaller parks, the neighborhood parks we call them, and that tends to, dictate what we do. We try to keep them, we have a north side, south side, and we kind of keep them clustered, so it's, easier to get out. And we also utilize those areas, so less travel time for our crew to go from park to park, the other small parks.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a second?
I didn't really say it. Do you want me to say it? I started.
Oh, I thought you made your motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Zizinga?
Present. Non-resident fee policy review.
We already talked about that. Yeah.
Okay, so motion to approve?
There's nothing to.
There's
approve.
nothing.
That's what we tabled.
Okay.
Tabled it.
Tabled it, good.
Yep.
Okay, matters from the public. Aaron Wagner.
Good evening, thank you. I'm Erin Wagner, North Caroline Street. First, I want to say thank you, Mr. Herbster, for your service. I've been lucky enough to grow up in Crystal Lake and be a participant in many Park District programs, but I've been even more lucky to raise my son here for the last 14 years and have him be a direct recipient of all of your hard work, Mr. Herbster. So everything from Tot Rock when he was 2 years old, so now he's riding his bike alone through Lippold to his friend's house. So very much appreciate everything you've done. Tonight, I'm here to speak on behalf of one of our community members, Beth Ryan, who resides at 1085 Plum Tree Drive. I am unable to attend tonight in person due to a medical condition, but I wanted to encourage the board to strongly consider or reconsider including the construction of additional dry storage at West Beach in the budget. From my understanding, this project would completely pay for itself in one season. The demand for dry storage is there. We have used it since 2020, and in recent years, residents, me included, have lined up for hours ahead of time to secure a slot. There is no valid reason not to increase this high-demand resource for Park District residents unless certain commissioners have once again forgotten that the lake also belongs to residents who do not live on it. Please include this project in the budget. I would also like to thank Jason Herbster for his leadership and dedicated service to the Park District and the people of Crystal Lake. I wish you the best in your retirement. I am cautiously optimistic that when the board hires a replacement, then they will choose someone of similar skill and strength of character and not just someone who will support their personal agendas. Thank you again. That was Beth Ryan.
Sarah?
Hi. Hi, it's good to see you guys. My name is Sarah McHale, Crystal Lake resident, park board member from 2021 to 2025, and board president for the last year of that. As Jason Herbster's time as executive director comes to a close, and eventually the search for his replacement is going to begin, I want to take a few minutes to reflect on the type of leadership that he has brought to our town and the executive traits needed to lead our park district. Jason, you're a person with morals and the utmost integrity, both personally and professionally. I saw this from you time and again when you responded to concerns from the community. You lead with honesty, transparency, and a genuine ability to listen. You were also able to talk, sometimes a lot. And the way you spoke to me about your family and the respect that you have for your wife shone through. Listening to you talk about your excitement at watching your son's hockey games made me like you even more than your ability to patiently explain the intricacies of a budget. You are a person who really cares about the team. In my experience of working for and with executive directors, it quickly became clear to me that your collaborative and transparent leadership style had inspired a whole team of staff to really give their all to this organization, and it's our community that benefited. Finally, I appreciate that you are the kind of leader that understands that this park district is not about you or the board. It's about our community. It's about the people, the parks, the natural areas. This is why we want to call Crystal Lake home, because of leadership from people like you. You truly believe in the mission of enriching our community through recreation, parks, and nature, and we've all benefited from it. Thank you for being the kind of leader that recognizes that this is bigger than yourself. Thank you for leading with integrity, compassion, and collaboration. Your ever-present sense of humor doesn't hurt either. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Sarah.
Brad Fennessy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight, we gathered to celebrate Jason Herbster's 16-year legacy. The community turnout tonight proves that when a leader spends nearly 2 decades opening doors and respecting the public responds with love. Jason's hallmark was stewardship, leaving the parks better than he found them. But it is deeply telling that on the very night we honor a man of such transparency, this board chose to move public comment to the end of the agenda. By forcing us to speak after the budget discussions were held, you haven't maintained order, you've staged a retreat from accountability. As a concerned resident, I am looking at the tentative budget for the coming year, and I am disappointed to see the $6,000 for dry storage at West Beach has been stripped away for the kayaks, for all of our other eco-friendly boats. To this board, $6,000 is a rounding error, but to the families of Crystal Lake, it is a barrier to entry. While private organizations on this lake enjoy rows of storage racks The public is once again told to watch and not disrupt from the sidelines. Main Beach has no storage, little storage, maybe the sailboat area is allowed, but by cutting this item, you are ensuring West Beach remains stagnant. The budget isn't final until April. You still have time to do the right thing. If you truly want to honor Jason's 16 years of service, you will follow his lead. You will prioritize public access over private optics and leave the budget and the beach better than you found it. Instead, you've chosen to hide behind an agenda shuffle tonight. You may have moved us to the end of the meeting, but you can't move us out of the conversation. Thank you.
Carolyn Schofield.
First, I want to say, Jason, it's been a pleasure working with you. I can't believe it's been 16 years, and I think we've worked in every capacity together, and you're just an amazing person and always so professional. You've done a wonderful job, so thank you for that. I just want to also say, I'm glad Brad brought that up about the agenda in the public matters moving to the end, because now it doesn't allow the public any opportunity to speak to any of the agenda items. So it's almost like you just want us to talk only about bad things. But I was actually here tonight because Glenn Chelius wrote a song that reminded me of why we are all here. Those that are there, those that are behind me, and it really is because we all love Crystal Lake. So I just wanted to remind you all that you represent those that are not just here tonight, not just those that live on the lake, but those that live in Crystal Lake, those that visit Crystal Lake, and most of all, those that love Crystal Lake. So I'm gonna play this song, and I'm sure you'll cut me off because it's about 4 minutes, but I just thought I will play it till it ends, so enjoy. It was doing that.
Sunrise breaking over Main Beach sand. Coffee in my car, radio and a plan. First stop, Cafe Olympic down the street. Strong black coffee and something hot to eat. Later at the cottage when the workday's done. Free popcorn, flying peanuts and fun. Front porch laughter, cold drink in my hand. Best kind of living anyone ever planned. This is Crystal Lake living, where my roots run deep. Where the stars shine bright and the nights don't sleep. From the Doe Farmer's Market on a summer day to the sound of those 6 strings drifting my way. No matter how far I go from home, this town's in my blood and in my bones. Yeah, my heart stays right where memories wait. Here in my hometown, Crystal Lake.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. Appreciate it.
Figured you would, thanks.
Okay, reports to the board.
Eric, anything? I don't have anything else to add. Kurt? Jen? Eric?
Yeah, actually, real quick. So attached on the reports to the board this time around, we have this matrix. This is in regards to the Williams Architects, our project over at the new park maintenance facility. I will make sure I keep everybody up to date monthly on that. Currently, last week, we met with the civil engineer, the mechanical engineer, and the architect. Systems were reviewed and things like that. So we are moving forward. Just thought I'd share that update with you. And then one other thing, next week, we are going to begin construction or demo on the barn lean-tos at Hill Farm. So that'll be happening next week. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Matters
Amy,
for-
anything?
Yes, actually, I do. I'll speak really loud. Woods Creek Park project started with the fencing that was installed today, and so we're really excited to get that project underway, the courts renovation project. And I really wanted to share an exciting news. We received a check from for the OSLEG grant for Lakewood Meadows, so we received our payment for that from the state, which closes out our grant project for the development of Lakewood Meadows. Very excited and thankful that the state gave us the opportunity to have the $600,000 from them.
When will Woods Creek be completed? What do you think? I know weather permitting, but is it like we wanted it?
No, it's not 2 years. It's going to be this, well, we're hoping for summertime. Yep.
Thank you. Now, I have one thing, a question for you, Jason. Obviously, tonight, they brought up a lot of things about these additional responsibilities or commitments that you have, right? So what is the plan for some of those roles? Does an interim slide into those, or they just get vacated, or how does?
Yeah, in closed session, MGT's here to walk us through that process tonight.
Oh, I'm just talking about the part of the NISRA board and those types of things. That's
Yeah,
part
so
of it.
I'll assign, I've got a long list of things to close out, delegate, find someone else to be, like FOIA officer, for example. Ann's a FOIA officer, but Kurt took the test, so he'll probably step in to help with doing some of that stuff. So Fred might come by and help out.
I took the test.
apparently.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I passed the test, too. Any other matters from the board?
I do think that, I'm sure we're all aware that Lakewood passed a new ordinance having to do with non-motorized vehicles during peak hours. We had talked about one of our concerns about more dry storage being that there were too many boats in the wrong places. So Lakewood passed something, and it's going to Crystal Lake. I don't know if they've passed it already, but I know that it's expected that they're going to support that. And so I would like to see us put this dry storage at West Beach back up. We're looking at ways to increase revenue. This is minimal storage. We don't technically even need board approval to do it. It's such a small budget item. Staff could put it up, but because we've had it at the board level, it should be a board decision. If small craft are behaving, well-behaved, and we now have an ordinance that the Lake Police are going to enforce, I think it makes sense, and it's the right time to bring up again, putting up this dry storage that will become a moneymaker after 1 year. This is what we're here to do, serve the public and make sure we look at income streams. So I'd like to have it. How do you all feel about that?
I'm with you 100%.
Personally, that space over there is very valuable. So personally, I was looking at other options to make money, like redeveloping that area, beautifying it a little better, and maybe putting a pavilion there so people can rent it out, because there's really nothing over there to rent at West Beach. So it's to be continued. I'm trying to brainstorm on different ideas.
So the next meeting, what are the hot topics for the next meeting?
I was just trying to get through tonight's.
Yeah, I think if you have something, any other matters from the board, 'cause we're going to keep this meeting moving now, because I don't think we should work on our agenda right now.
All right,
Call me tomorrow and we can look
Yeah.
at what's on it. I don't
Yeah.
have it in front of me, so.
thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to.
Can I just say one thing really quick?
Yeah.
Didn't think about this, but thank you to everyone that coordinated what went on tonight. touched me more than you'll ever know, and a great send-off. So I'll leave it at that before it gets sappy. So, thank you.
Okay. So this ends the board meeting. We're going to move into executive session now, and then we're going to reconvene after it. Yes, we have a motion to go into executive session.